Hi there, everybody. This is Alice Clayton, and I am here with my very, very good friend, Keili.
Good friend.
My best friend.
There it is.
My bestest friend in the whole wide world, Keili Lefkovitz. She narrates all my audiobooks in the Redhead series. Hi, Keili.
Why, hello, Alice. How are you?
Well, I'm pretty good today. So, yeah, Keili and I we've been friends since college.
Yep.
So, like 2 years ago?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right, because we're 23.
Yes, we are. We went to University of Missouri together, and in fact, I was there, and then you came in, your sophomore year?
Came in my junior year. So
right.
We actually, what's so bizarre is that we only were at school together for 1 year.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. 1 year, and then 87 years later, here we are.
Let's talk about the first time we met each other, because we kind of fell in love pretty quickly, pretty hard.
It was love at first sight, and
yeah.
There was a day that I would just happen to be in a costume shop at the theater department at University of Missouri, and this girl came in who I had heard about, but I'd never met her, because, your reputation precedes you.
That's not good.
And you had just gotten back from Mexico, so you were very, very tan, and we chatted, and as you left the theater shop, you pulled up your skirt and showed everybody your ass.
Yeah. Well, I had a tattoo I still have a tattoo on my ass, and so that's probably where that came from. Was it there at that point?
It was there, and I
Yes,
said,
it was.
That's going to be my new friend.
Yeah, and then we fell in love, and then we played Baywatch together. Whenever Alice tended to get drunk, we had a pool at the place that I lived, and she would take off her clothes except for down to her T-shirt and underwear, and she would push in the hot guys and then dive in after them and save them.
Right. Well, let's qualify this. Everybody was in the pool, first of all. It wasn't just that,
That's because you pushed us all in.
And there goes Alice, stripping naked and jumping into a pool 3 houses away. We were all playing around by the pool because I would push in the boys that I really particularly wanted to have some kind of physical contact with that night so that I could save them.
That's true. Now that we have introduced ourselves, I have some questions for you for the Redhead audio series, which I loved and had a blast recording.
Yes. I was so thrilled that you actually were able to do it. It is not only was it a dream for me to actually have my books published by Simon & Schuster, but when I found out that there was actually going to be an audiobook, I went to my editor and I was like, listen, I don't know how many people do this, and if people do this all the time and they're like, hey, I knew this girl at high school who used to sing in the choir, and she's got a pretty good voice. I'm like, no, she really does have a great voice, and she does voiceover work all the time, and if there's anybody that is going to tackle the ridiculousness that is the Redhead series, it has to be my bestie. And they were like, okay.
Since I knew you were always an actress and a singer. I knew you as an actress and a singer first, which obviously you bring to Grace in this entire series. But what I didn't know was that you were interested in putting pen to paper.
Right. No one knew. And I was the most surprised when that happened.
How did you start with the writing?
There was a very specific situation that happened that made me decide I wanted to write a story, and it was reading an interview that Robert Pattinson gave right at the beginning of this huge Twilight hype. And they asked him who he was attracted to, and he said that he thought that Tina Fey was like the sexiest woman on the planet.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about, well, what would it actually be like if a guy like Robert Pattinson, the next big it boy that everybody's talking about and everybody's trying to figure out, well, who's he dating and who's he going home to at night? What if it wasn't some little starlet? What if it wasn't his co-star? What if it was a woman 9 years older than him, and he was spending his evenings not out on the town, but up in the hills, eating Chex Mix and watching Golden Girls? And that's where it came from. And then I was off and running.
But off and running, meaning did you start short stories?
I came out of the fan fiction community, which has, in the last couple of years, has spawned just some huge series.
What was your inspiration for this series in terms of like the main characters, Jack and Grace and Holly and Michael?
So these characters are absolutely based on some of our friends and things that have happened to us throughout the years. And what's so funny is obviously the core of the series is Jack and Grace. However, what I get more compliments on anything else and more comments on is the relationship between Grace and Holly. Mm-hmm. And people say, I want to go have cocktails with them, or that's exactly how me and my girlfriends talk, or, oh, my God, I wish I had a friend like Holly. That's what is really nice because, obviously, the character of Holly is based on you, my friend.
Holla.
That's right. When you are recording this, because you do a hell of a job, my friend, there are some times in these books where there is some steam and there is some sexing. And sometimes I'm like, wow, she did that really well. And sometimes I'm like, oh, God, this is so uncomfortable for me. When you go to actually do your recording, what's your process?
First of all, I've read them. As you write these books, you tend to send me chapters, but when I read it in its entirety, I go back and I reread it so that I sort of know the trajectory of where the story is going, because let's just say there's like 11 sex scenes. I don't want them all to sound the same. Particularly when it comes to an audiobook, you're creating an experience for the listener as opposed to it being a visual thing. So you're just using your voice, so you have to really sort of be patient and paint the picture for the listener and be willing to orgasm for the public. So it's basically, it's like the regular acting process. Well, I'm glad we got a moment to sort of get in your head, and thank you for writing these books so I can at least relive our ridiculousness.
Well, that's really why I wrote them. I can't tell you how gratifying it is for me to not only be able to hit play on my iPhone, on my iPad, and hear you streaming back to me, but actually reading my words. It's definitely a surreal moment for me. So I just have to take a moment and say thank you once again to Miss Keili Lefkovitz, everybody, for recording these and just taking the time to chat some Redhead.
And I would like to thank Alice Clayton for providing me with these books to read. I love you, and I'll probably talk to you in 5 minutes.
I love you, too. I will talk to you in 5 minutes, and I feel like you owe me a purse or something for getting you this gig.